Hello, my friends, and welcome to a very special episode of The Don Lemon Show. The first of only two debates between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump is going to take place tonight. I want to dig into all of the latest reporting we have from strategists on both sides, and I have two wonderful guests with me to do just that. Emily Amick is a former counsel to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and she is the author of the forthcoming book, Democracy in Retrograde. Can you hold that book up, Emily? We want to make sure that we sell that book. She's matching it, Democracy in Retrograde. And longtime Lemonheads who recognize the award-winning civil rights attorney and legal analyst, Areva Martin. Hello to both of you. Thank you for joining us. Man, whoo, you guys ready?
Well, first of all, are we Lemonheads?
You're a Lemonhead. No, I said longtime Lemonheads will recognize Areva Martin.
I understood. I was just saying.
So if you're a fan, then yes, you're a Lemonhead. Are you a Lemonhead, Areva?
The Swifties, now they're Lemonheads. I love it.
You love it, right? You're part of the Lemon Nation. So with that said, you guys are both ready, right? I think the country and the world is waiting on this. Emily, this is going to be a historic rematch, but do you think it's going to be a rerun? Do you think that both Biden and Trump are going to head into this debate with the same strategies and the same attitudes they did for the debates in 2020? I think if they do, that's not a good strategy.
No, I think that a lot has changed in 4 years, and President Biden has a record to run on, and that's going to be a huge component of his strategy here. I also think that President Trump has been existing in his own universe for 4 years, in which he's regurgitating sort of garbly gook to his audience, and I'm not sure if he's really going to be on the ball, especially within the constraints of this CNN debate, which are very different than the last time.
Oh, really? Wait, talk about that more. Why do you say that?
Well, I think that he really feeds off an audience.
I agree.
He loves that feedback. And I've actually been trying to weigh, is it a good thing or a bad thing that he doesn't have that? Because that also reinforces him to say some of his more outlandish ideas and to come up with absolute nonsense. But there's going to be a lot of constraints for like the amount of time, and the mics are getting turned off.
Emily, can we hold on? Let's talk about, I'll let you go through each of those. I think you're right about feeding off the audience, and I actually think people need to see his more authentic self, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I'm not sure if I'm not really crazy about these rules. Okay, now you were talking about the mic. What's your mic point?
Well, I think that the longer you let Trump ramble, the more you get either his actual thoughts or things that he's willing to say. Yeah. And it's never clear where that line is drawn, which has been one of his sort of secret weapons, is like no one ever believes what he says, but then sometimes they become reality when he's president.
But what about, Emily, if he's, they're going to cut his mic off and he's still going to be ranting, and then you'll hear him over, Joe Biden's mic. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, those will be some clips. They'll go viral.
Yeah. And then, wait, is there another one? So it's a microphone, it is the no audience, and they don't have
They're allowing them to volley back and forth for every question. So, I think that can be interesting for a number of reasons. But one of the things I hope President Biden does is really try to pin President Trump down on his actual opinions, because he says a lot of things. He said, I'm going to leave deciding if contraception should be banned up to the states. And then like a couple days later, his campaign will come out and be like, no, take vaccines. He said, everyone who graduates from American colleges should be able to get a path to citizenship. And this campaign is like, wait. And so, I think it's going to be interesting to see if President Biden can hammer and get some answers out of him.
Yeah. Areva, why are you sitting there looking like the cat who ate the canary?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think Biden's strategy or goal should be to try to get Donald Trump to answer questions. The best journalists, on this planet have struggled with doing that. I think Biden needs to come out and...
Oh, hang on, hold on. One who's sitting here got him to answer the question, are you racist? And he said, I'm the least racist person. Some there, there's one. I'm just saying, but go on. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Best journalist on the planet. So with the exception of you being able to get him to answer questions. But I think Biden has a different job in this debate. And the job is to come out the way he did during the State of the Union and show the nation that he's not too old, because Donald Trump and team have spent months, telling their voters and the American people that Joe Biden can't stand up for 90 minutes. There was a lie out there that he asked to have a chair for the debate. CNN had to correct that and say, no, both parties agreed to the rules, and the rules were that each person would stand for 90 minutes. And I think people are looking to see, does Joe Biden have the stamina? Even though they're the same age or approximately the same age, Joe Biden has been put into this category of being weak and feeble and frail. And Donald Trump somehow gets or has the reputation of somehow being strong and tough. So I think Joe Biden's got to show the nation that I can go 90 minutes head to head, toe to toe with this guy, and do so with ease without looking, frail and feeble. And I think if he does that alone, I think people are going to be looking at that way more than they're going to even be listening to his policies, because we know on policies, Joe Biden, hands down, beats Donald Trump every day of the week.
Emily, I'm glad you have your pup there. I have my dog who's asleep behind me. So we are a very pet-friendly show. So thank you for bringing your family, your fur babies, with us. But Areva, who has the most to lose? Because you were talking about, Joe Biden, if he doesn't come off as energetic, or combative during the way that he did during the State of the Union, then people are going to say, well, what's going on here? He's lost his mojo. And then, Donald Trump he's going to rant and rave, and I think Americans are used to that. So who has the most to lose?
I think they both have a lot to lose, Don. Yes, if Joe Biden comes off confused, if he makes too many gaffes, if he looks like he's not doing well standing there for 90 minutes, people are going to jump all over that. But Trump has a lot to lose too. And to Emily's point, Trump has been, speaking in the most complicated word salad type sentences, more so now the last 3 to 5, 6 months than ever before. So him standing there rambling, saying things that are completely incomprehensible, I think, gives the Biden campaign and the Democrats, evidence. They give them fodder to say, look, Donald Trump is not all there. Donald Trump has his if you think Joe Biden has memory issues or, is suffering from what most 80-year-old people suffer from, look what Donald Trump just said. So I think they both have a lot to lose, and it's risky. Going into these debates in June, which is not normal for our presidential debates, right before their nominating contest will happen. And, I think the biggest thing that the Biden administration can do, make Joe look like he can go 90 minutes and then hammer that conviction, hammer that conviction, hammer that conviction. I don't think the Democrats have done nearly enough with regards to this guy is a convicted felon. He is a convicted felon.
And I think that what you have to do with Donald Trump, you have to throw him off his game. And if you don't take him seriously, he gets really upset. I think the best thing that Joe Biden can do is just sort of laugh at him. But Emily, listen, let's talk about the positioning on the stage. Because I thought it was a curious decision on the behalf of the Biden team. They did this coin toss. And the coin toss, they either got, they got to decide which side they stood on the stage or at which podium. But instead of getting the last word, that was one of the options, they decided, the Biden folks, that they wanted Joe Biden to be on the right. Now, I thought it was a crazy thing because I would like to get the last word. I'm not sure if I would care which side of the stage because it doesn't matter, especially on a single camera. So I don't know. Emily. What do you think?
I don't know. When I walk into a store, I always go to the right. So maybe those people who track the AI tracking us at the CVS have something on us.
But is he to the right of? Is he screen right or screen left? Because usually the first person you look at is on the left-hand side of your screen, right? So that's the left.
You're the expert. I don't know.
People read from left to right, and so
true.
Always when you were. They always said that the most prominent position for an anchor was at the left of the screen because that's where the lead anchor sat on the left. And I don't know. I
think at the end of the day, the people watch live, but it's going to be a war of clips, and that's the real efficacy of the debate in this day and age.
So the last word doesn't matter?
I don't know.
Not as much. I don't think it matters as much as it otherwise would have. I agree with Emily. People are going to be pulling those little clips, those little sound bites, seeing what's going to go viral. And a lot of people, Don, let's face it, are not going to be watching cable news and the debate of the presidents in June. People are on vacation. People have kids out of school. just the political heads like us, the lemon heads and others, are going to be glued into this. I think there's this, this myth out
Didn't they say like 50 million people or something is going to be watching? No, that's what they're guessing. I don't know.
The data I've seen is about the State of the Union, which a lot of people did watch. I was surprised at the level of engagement over the State of the Union. I mean, I do think people are going to show up because they have heard so much about Joe Biden's mental acuity. I think that just curiosity is going to kill the cat. A bunch of people are going to show up. They're going to see he's doing fine. He's a normal person. He has a stutter, but they're going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you said about the same number as the State of the Union is expected to watch?
No.
50 million people tuned in on a Thursday night, cable news, watching the debate. I could be wrong, but that's not my impression. When I talk
It's going to be everywhere.
Well, yeah, but when I talk to everyday people, they are not even tuned in to the fact that this is an election year. So we'll see. I mean, I hope more people tune in because we want more people engaged in our politics. Absolutely.
You may be right. I may be crazy, but it just may be a lunatic you're looking for. I don't know. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. You're right. Why then do you think this early debate? Emily, because June is a little bit early. Actually, it's a lot early.
It's super early.
Why?
One of the most interesting things is that there's all of these young people who never experienced the Trump presidency. And they are a key voting bloc. And I think one of the things the Biden campaign wants to do is put Donald Trump out in front of those voters and make them see who he really is. Is a debate the best way to do that? I don't know. But I think that there's that. And I think they want to sort of start to head off this concept that President Biden isn't strong and can't last 90 minutes in a debate when he can.
Mm-hmm. Areva, I want to go back to something that you said. You said, he's a convicted felon and blah, 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 right? But I'm just wondering, do you think Biden should talk about the convictions in the New York hush money trials?
Absolutely.
I mean, should he call him a felon? But because it could blow up in his face. And the only reason I say that is because it's the Hunter factor, right?
Biden he can talk about that too. Why shy away from the reality? Why shy away from the elephant in the middle of the room? Yes, my son is convicted, but guess what? My son is not on any ballot. My son's not running to be the president of the United States. My son made a mistake, and I have said that I will not pardon him. I will not commute his sentence. I will not interfere in our legal system. This guy is on the ballot. This guy wants to sit in the White House. He wants to have access to our nuclear secrets. He wants to be the man that represents us around the world. He is not my son. I think it's a huge mistake for the Biden administration to run away from that reality. That is a major issue. We've never, ever in the history of this country had a president sit in the White House who is a convicted felon. And to not address that, I think would be huge.
Okay, I'm playing. But your son is compromised. Your son, could have had secrets on his computer. Your son took jobs and used your name.
Not
your son,
your son is about. Don't run from that. My son has an addiction problem. You know what? More than 2/3 of this country have dealt with alcoholism or addiction in their family or themselves. People identify with that. My family stood proud. We went to court with my son every day. You didn't have a single family member except to the end of your trial. Take that on. Don't run from that. Hunter Biden is not on the ballot. I think it's a huge mistake. I don't even like the way the Democrats have been handling it to date. This whole, tiptoeing around. The man is a convicted felon and he is facing felony charges in federal court and in Georgia, another state court. Why
are they so careful? Why, to your point where you say you don't like the way Democrats are handling it, why are they so careful and they're like afraid of their own shadows?
We're just fraidy cats. We're Big Tent party. We don't fall in line. We've got to fall in love. I think we're adverse to risk. We're adverse to tough topics. It's just not kind of who we are as a party. We tend to, and Joe Biden as a person, great guy. He's gentle. He's a civil guy. But this is a political campaign, so I think we have to take away what he might do in his personal life, because it's not just about him. It's about the administration. It's about the country. It's about democracy. And in a campaign, you've got to use opposition research. And when you are a walking, talking opposition research book like Donald Trump is, It's foolish not to use it.
Emily, similar question to you, because what are the points that Biden needs to hit really to win this debate? I mean, I imagine abortion, the reproductive rights, that's going to be major themes, right? A major theme.
Yeah.
And I bet he's going to talk about democracy a lot. What do you think?
I think those are probably the two highlights. I think the third, repro rights is obviously at the top of the ballot for a lot of women voters. And at the end of the day, this election is going to be decided by the 6% of swing voters in 6 states. And the majority of those people are women. And they are saying repro is my number one issue. So I think he's going to hit that. He's going to hit democracy, obviously, from the Biden campaign's perspective. That's the biggest difference between him and Donald Trump is one is pro-democracy, one isn't. I think the third thing is the economy. And it's about Americans' lived experience. I think one of the things that I've started seeing from Democrats is talking about it differently. Job creation, inflation, those are big numbers. Let's talk about ending non-competes. Let's talk about investing in unions. What is it? What are they doing that's really improving Americans' lives? Reducing the cost of prescription drugs, $35 insulin, cheap inhalers, right? Like things that people feel directly in their pocketbooks. Because at the end of the day, it's about egg prices, it's about gas prices, right? It's hard to see a headline that says the economy's doing great when you yourself are hurting. And so I think it's a lot about nailing home those key things he's done directly for people.
I'm surprised that you guys haven't spoken about this, but maybe the current president doesn't want to go there. I mean, you did a little bit, Areva, you touched on it, but like, hey man, you were found liable of assaulting a woman, sexually assaulting a woman. I mean, and didn't the judge come back and clarify and said, yes, that's rape?
Absolutely. Walking, talking.
So do you bring that up?
To me, you do. Yes, that's important to the issue of women. That's important to those women voters. That's important to this whole concept of who do you want representing you around the world. This is a man who in 2 separate civil lawsuits involving women was found liable. I think you absolutely, again, I think it's a disservice to us as women. I want to know where you stand on that. I want to know that sexual harassment and sexual assault is completely unacceptable, should not be tolerated, should be zero tolerance in the workplace, and that you do not have at the head of your party someone that has been found liable for engaging in that conduct. Because think about this, Don. Before now, there were these allegations out there, lots of allegations leading into the 2016 election of Donald Trump, where he did win. But we didn't have judgments. It's a different game now. These aren't just innuendos, gossip, and just some dark secrets out there. This is a public trial that happened. People saw evidence. Witnesses testified. Yes, talk.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we're here, considering everything that has happened over the last couple of months when it comes to the former president. Emily, if you want to weigh in on it, would you bring that up, or you think that makes people at home uncomfortable? And then I got another question for you.
I think that there's only so much time on the debate stage, and what I hear from a lot of people is that they're electing a president, not a pastor, which I find a fascinating admission of cognitive dissonance. And
you took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say cognitive dissonance, and there you go. But sorry.
And so I also just think like Joe Biden, his classic move is to what he likes to do is hammer home substantive successes. Like this is a man who's just a career legislator, and that is what he does. Like that is his instinct. And I think at the end of the day, if I was his staff, I would be preparing him to do his best with the material he does best with. And so I just imagine that's what he'll be doing.
Emily, do you think that Trump is going to talk about abortion? Because really his messaging on abortion has been all over the place.
It would be incredibly stupid of him to do so. I think, what he has been doing is saying that he supports something wishy-washy. Send it back to the states is his favorite statement. And that is not what the evangelical movement wants by any means. And I think he risks, they'll be with him at the end of the day, but I think he really risks alienating a key component of his base that is phenomenally strong.
Do you think he's going to talk about it, Areva?
Oh, I think he will. I think the party
You think Trump is going to talk about
is going to
abortion?
be forced to talk about it. The question is going to come up from the CNN moderators. They're going to ask him about abortion because it is one of the most significant issues on the ballot. And he has been all over the board, and the down ballot Republican candidates are looking for direction because the party is split. You have these evangelicals, you have these hardcore anti-abortionists, anti-in vitro fertilization, anti-contraception, anti-everything, control women's bodies, everything that we do and say. And then you have more people in the party that are moderate that don't want to run on that anti-abortion message because they see that they've been losing on it in every special election, even in red states like Ohio. But he's got to be prepared to, I think, give us some word salad, and he's going to try to satisfy the Christian right while satisfying that, more moderate Republican. I don't think we'll know where he stands on it after he does address it, but he's going to address it.
He's going to have to, right? At least somehow. Yeah. And, well, let's see how he skirts around it, or he straddles the fence. It should be given to the states. You know the whole thing. And Emily's dog is agreeing with me. So, Emily, look, historically, sitting presidents have often struggled in the first re-election debate. Jimmy Carter, remember, widely perceived to have fumbled his first debate against Ronald Reagan. Obama, do you remember that debate? Right. Effectively admitted that he lost the first debate to Mitt Romney back in 2012. So how does Biden's prep team ensure that that doesn't happen to him, that history does not repeat itself?
I think President Biden knows a lot is on the line at this debate. And I think that the viral talking point, viral clip ecosystem is vastly different at this point. And the debate doesn't merely exist on your television screen for one night. It's something that's going to keep going and recurring throughout the cycle. And I think what is on the line is higher stakes. And I think what we saw at State of the Union is that Biden can do it. He can get up there and he can talk. And I think that's, if I was his staff, certainly that would be my mode. Let's just do that again.
Yeah. So, I hate this next phrase, but I'm going to say it because it evokes violence. It's so evocative. But, it sort of, it shows you how serious I am with this question, Areva. So, gun to your head, I hate that. Who do you think is going to win the debate?
I think Joe Biden is going to win because he has the record. But one thing I don't want Biden to do, and I know Emily said he should just play to his strengths, and his strengths are talking about policy. One of the reasons Biden, if you believe what the pundits say and all the, what I'll call corporate media, this is a classic phrase from one of these articles in the New York Times. Trump is a vibe, Biden is a list. And similar to the statement about, people are electing a politician, not a pastor, there is this sense out there that Biden is just this kind of robotic list of things that for most of us sophisticated voters is great, because that's what we elect the president to do, is to enact policies that better the lives of the American people. So we want the list because that tells us you're doing your job. But for those voters that sit on the margins who are not so tuned in to these policies, I think he's got to be more than a list. Mm-hmm. And I think if he's more than a list, he wins. But I think if he just gets up there and just kind of, rattles off the list, I'm not so certain that he's not going to draw in any new voters. I think he's got to connect with voters in a different way. And they don't just want a list. That's what they're telling us. So I think he can win. I guess that's the answer to your question. As a lawyer, I need to come back.
If he just stands there, maybe he'll win. If he can make it through 90 minutes, we'll see.
He's got to have a lot of charisma. People want their president, let's say, for better or worse, people vote for people they like. We know that. This is a visceral experience. This isn't just who did the best. Because if this was about whose resume, has the most accomplishments,
it would be The Apprentice, Donald Trump, right?
No, it would be down.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Down. But people aren't just voting the list. They're not just voting the list.
Emily?
Yeah, I think the people who win are going to be the pundit class who finally have something to talk about that's interesting. I think
True that.
I think that the best thing that could happen to President Biden is that Donald Trump attacks one of his sons. Certainly, I recollect very little about the 2020 debates, but I remember when Trump attacked Beau. And I think getting at what Areva is saying, there's the vibes of it all. And we love Uncle Joe, but I think more than anything, we love Joe the dad, and we love it when we feel the heart. And everyone who I know who has a personal relationship with President Biden says that man has empathy for people. He cares about people. And part of what we have, I think, lost in the current media environment, and the fact that he's talking about so many other things, is that we aren't seeing that from him, that empathy, that heart. Mm-hmm. And that's really, what I, as a viewer, that's what I want to see from Joe Biden.
Yeah, it'd be great if you hear a story. He's best when he's telling some story that connects with people, and I hope he has an opportunity to do that.
Where are you going to watch, Areva?
Where? I don't know where I'm going to be Thursday night. I'll see it. I'm going to have to watch it. I'm going to be talking about it. I'm not sure.
It is going to rerun, and you can watch clips.
Yeah, I can watch the clips tonight. I may be watching. I don't know. It's Thursday. It may be at a club or something. I don't know.
Well, you look very casual, so good luck watching tonight. Emily, where are you going to watch?
Oh, I watch from my home. Like many Americans, I don't have cable news anymore.
Emily, I have not watched cable news in a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm going to watch, but if I do, it's going to be with this little guy right here.
Who was well behaved.
That's Gus. That's one.
Anyone that's not watching, you're not going to be able to go to your social media accounts to do anything tonight without seeing the debate. So you're going to see it whether you want to see it or not.
It's
true. All right, Gus, who's going to win? Okay, he says he wants to keep it. Speaking to the microphone. He said he wants to keep it a secret. Okay. All right. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Areva. Good luck, everybody, tonight.
Bye,
thank you. What's the name of the book? What's the name of the book?
Democracy in Retrograde. Please order now. It's about bringing hopefulness back to politics, and it's particularly for people who are just exhausted from it all.
All right, we're going to go get ready for the debate. All right, Gus, get down.
Fun.
Go get my beer.
Get your wine.
Bye. Thanks for watching The Don Lemon Show. Make sure you click on the image in the top right to subscribe to my channel and the thumbnail in the bottom right to watch more content from my show. And I'll see you next time.